It was a terrible start for Fnatic in their 2026 campaign as they lost in a pretty big upset to BBL 2-0. I mean, they lost on Breeze here 13-11, okay, but that actually came after a 9-3 half into a massive comeback and really struggling on the attack side. But then on their map pick on Haven, a map that last year they were synonymous with being extremely good at and had a very good win-loss record on, they got absolutely destroyed. 13-4. This is their map pick. What's going on? Well, the problems were evident really from the start. I mean, we can come to the very first pistol round and just watch here as BBL are going to aggro out towards A, right? So they send a shock dart. You got 4 players here from BBL all grouped up. Fnatic are going to fake some pressure over towards C, but it's Fnatic, so they're playing slow. This is never going to be a fast C exec because you're playing against Fnatic. And so now BBL are about to go super aggro outside A main.
Time. Easier to go forward. Push is coming to shove. Fnatic, they've seen one player pushed up A. They expect there could be some aggression, but they don't know quite how much. Great paranoia. It forces 2 players back. LaRock chases them around that corner. The cash is being spotted. Alpha's being dropped, but that trade back.
So this is a fairly nice idea from BBL, and I like that they're kind of patient with it here. They understand who they're playing against. They don't rush into this. They know that Fnatic are going to be slow, and it goes pretty well for them. But Fnatic do an okay job, right? Like they do okay here. You know, it's not a complete disaster. We end up in this 3v2, but this is where things get weird. And you'll see what I'm talking about here, right? So 3v2, we could go anywhere here if we're Fnatic, right? So we know that they've been aggressive towards A. We've still got the Viper alive. We could try and, you know, sneak up A still, you know, and potentially surprise them and hope that they've rotated off. Obviously, we could come to B. We could come to C because, you know, we have seen 4 players walk out here of A. So we should know that those sites are weak. So our options are still open here for Fnatic. They really could do anything, but just take a look at what they actually do, right? So yeah, they're deciding where to go. They decide, it looks like, to come out towards Garage just here, right? And then I do just want to show there what happens because this is quite important, I think, into the terms of like, I have no idea what's going on. Boaster drops the spike to Vekash. Okay, just keep that in your mind. So Boaster has just proactively chosen to give Vekash the spike. They come in towards Garage just here. We can see this. They are eventually going to realize there's a trip here, right? So Boaster now, he's realizing there's a trip here. Vekash then starts walking all the way back. He then walks back and back and back until he ends up in spawn. Now, at this point in the round, I was thinking, okay, the smoke is going on C. This trip is going to get broken, and then Vekash is going to walk A. And like, you're going to fake like we're going C. You're going to get these guys to rotate across and then go A. Like, okay, it's a bit bold, but okay, I guess. And so you see Boaster starts, and these players do start rotating. I was like, okay, it's a bit of a risky idea. It's a bit out there, but, you know, it might work. But then, I guess, as Boaster doesn't see anyone or anything, Vekash then starts sprinting back to C. And this is the thing, like, it just seems a little bit confused. And what this means is, because he's gone all the way back in spawn, you know, now by the time they get into the site, there's barely any time left. So BBL are now in position. They know you have to stick the spike now, and it means that Vekash now is going to get revealed by this camera just here that didn't get destroyed. He's going to get revealed by a dart as well, and then he can't move because you have to stick the spike.
Spike planted.
I'll be denied. They're quickly on him. Vekash stuck behind that box. As you said, no escape. Boaster has a paranoia, will catch one, but the spat through is...
So this is why I'm just so confused. I don't know. Did Vekash not know he had the spike, even though the spike got given to him? Right? Was that the problem? Did he think that Boaster had the spike? Was the plan initially to go to A, but they thought that that was too risky and so cancelled late? I don't know, right? But it feels like just such an overcook. And then even in this position here, right? Like, I think Boaster plays this quite badly as well, because the spike is being planted here in the safe position, right? It's not being planted for long. So you can't retreat down to long. You just can't, right? Boaster also doesn't destroy this dart, so they both get revealed as well. So BBL instantly know where they both are. And then, like, you know, you have no chance in the round here, right? If you're playing like that. So from the very start of this map, clearly there was something weird going on. Okay, now let's skip ahead to round number 6. The score is actually 3-2 to Fnatic. They've actually managed to win 3 rounds in a row, right? So at this point in the game, we were like, oh, you know, BBL have won the pistol, but Fnatic are back. But then from here, Fnatic would only win 1 more round from this point. And this round, round number 6, is all over the place.
Nowhere to run! Hunter Shuri. We talked about it being fired in a bit more freely. Well, It's going to be off rip that it's sent through. Lover's Rock, the one to find the damage.
Okay, so I just want to analyze the start of this round and this first death from Boaster here, because this feels like we're on two different teams. This is like we aren't all in the voice comms this round. I really am like perplexed by what we're trying to do here. You've got Boaster aggro TPing down here on his own, and no one is there to destroy the dart. I mean, Vekaj is holding this with an op, right? So that's why Vekaj is back here. Alfia is holding in towards mid. But the way that like Kayak, Boaster, and Crashies play this is as if this is going to be a fast A exec, right? So Boaster, right? Like that's pretty aggressive from Boaster, right? If you watch Boaster play, you know he's not a super aggressive player. He's being revealed and he's like, you know, running down to a position where someone can kill him. You might think it's a little bit strange, especially when you look at the map and realize like all these three are just, you know, still back here. Also, you've got Kayak here. He's going to take this TP, right? So that's how he gets down here so fast. He's taken an aggro TP and is now running up here towards long. And then Crashies is going to pop his Silver ult, right? And he's Silver ulting. So for those three, to me, like in Boaster, Kayak, and Crashies' mind, this seems like we're going fast A exec. But for these two, it's like we're running a little slow default, right? Vekaj is just staring here. Doesn't put his wall up or anything. Boaster dies. And so look at this, right? You know, so Boaster is already dead. Kayak is now here. We are Silver ulting, right? So 3 players are aggressively doing stuff. Your other 2 players are sitting here. I don't understand that. I don't understand how that can make any sense, right? Why are you doing a 2-man exec with a Silver ult? It doesn't make sense. So I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know, you know, what that really is. But yeah, it's very, very strange. And then as we play the round forward, Kayak actually hits a really nice shot there to kind of get Fnatic, you know, somewhat back in the round. And he actually manages to escape and play his life, right? So, okay, the start of the round was a bit of a disaster, but we're still back in it. But the problems, you know, still go on from here, right? Because now BBL, and they did a really good job at this, are now going to re-explore mid, and they're going to find a free kill here, right? Crashies is out here, and he's trying to fake garage. This, again, though, makes no sense. Look at the map here, right? So, okay, we went out towards A. It went badly. We came back. We're resetting the round. We could go anywhere. You've got one guy still exploring towards A. You got one guy exploring towards garage on his own, and you got these 2 exploring towards C. You're exploring every part of the map here, right? You're trying to do everything. You can't do everything. Because, I mean, for exactly the reason we see. If your opponents decide to do anything, right? If they decide to explore anything and get aggressive anywhere, which a team like BBL tend to do, well, then you're in a massive amount of trouble because you've just got small numbers everywhere, right? They're probably going to outnumber whatever aggro play they want to do there.
Rose just saw
30
something.
seconds left.
Because they all just stopped. They all just stopped in a moment, and he is locked in on that angle.
And they're not peeking it until they slide in, and Hunter's Fury then follows, and you're dead. Hope to BBL. This round should
Still
be
have
theirs.
thrown. That's so annoying. Kayak 14 HP had to play risky. He had to get in their face. He had to find an off angle. And with the drone, you just can't do that.
Nanos are gone as well, Tom. Fnatic were about to back off site, but they've got to stay up close. The shock dart removed, their nanos. The spams removed, Kayak. And Alpha is now all that stands. We've seen him win in situations like this, but...
Okay, so just a bit of a disaster from start to finish there from Fnatic. But now let's get back to the very next round, which actually I do want to give some praise to BBL in this video, and this round is the perfect one to illustrate that. Because again, BBL are going to be pretty, you know, aggressive here, and I thought they were really, really good at like understanding Fnatic and understanding, you know, how Fnatic play. Because normally when you go for these sort of trap plays, right? So you see we got 4 players here, and this is like, you know, a big trap. As soon as we find contact, we're gonna really try and destroy you. You see our Omen here has Paranoia just in hand already. We are just ready. Larocque is just ready to run down here and get killing some people, right? Now, against most teams, you would say you can hold these things for a certain amount of time, and then after a certain amount of time, that's when you kind of need to give these things up. Because like, oh, we've probably giving up like a bit too much space here. But when you're playing as Fnatic, you know, well, it's Fnatic, they're probably going to go a bit slower. And this is what I thought BBL were quite good at, is that they seem to adjust to that pace pretty well. Because you see, we're still in this stance. A whole 40 seconds has gone in the round, right? There's a minute and 1 second left. They're still here. They understand the pace that Fnatic were actually playing at. And now they are about to absolutely destroy them.
Fnatic have chosen their timing well, but that paranoia is still a big problem.
Yeah, it's still there. Drone goes through. Pressure put in, but the spam's wonderful. But that's where the trap is sprung. Swinging round the corners. It's beautiful from BBL. They had to adapt the trap. That's an amazing shot from Vekash.
So really, really good here from BBL. You see that they go for after contact of the drone. You get the Omen flash. You get this kill here. And then, you know, these two are just in a lot of trouble, as you can see just there. And then they actually get unlucky, I think, here, BBL. I mean, with Vekash just, you know, perfectly hitting that as LaRock is running across. That's a bit unfortunate. And then if we skip this round forward, eventually is what's going to happen is Fnatic are going to end up over towards A just here. You can see, and Boaster is actually going to go TP and go and get the spike. But unfortunately for him, as we can see, Lover's Rock is already here.
Round, but the sixth sense. Now that spike's going to be taken, and he's going to be there, ready and waiting to just stop him, deny him. Only 9 seconds left on the clock. Vekash is trying to bait him in. He doesn't even realize he stood right next to him.
Okay, now let's actually skip ahead to the other side here. So we're looking at the pistol here for BBL on their attack side. And this one starts off with Alfia doing something that makes him look not so clever.
The further you drop down, it's a little bit of a bonus. Pace in on Alfia.
So Alfia was already having a pretty tough game, but this is not how you want to start your defensive half, with your Killjoy in garage, getting revealed, trying to take a fight, and just instantly getting domed. That's not how you want to start that. But then the thing is, off the back of that, because then Vekash puts up this wall, he then can't see what's going on towards garage, and because our Killjoy is dead, this alarm bot isn't up. So this, by Lover's Rock, is actually going to win the round. Right, so this is why that death is so important, because without that, not just the fact that it's a 5v4, but I mean, the fact that he's able to get to this position, right? This does not happen normally, and he goes on a tour of Haven. It's kind of crazy, because Fnatic actually find themselves back in this round. They actually managed to get a couple kills. We kind of go back and forth a little bit just here, but now, as you see, we get, I mean, this is a bit crazy as well. I'll just show you this, like, this is a kind of insane. But now we get into this 3v3, and Vekash is going to go running away, right? But look at where he is, right? He's just being completely lost in the shuffle here.
Misses the shots in the cross. His wall will get him out. He's going to be able to reset, but now Vekash is down. He's It's still anyone's game.
It's going to add further confusion to what is ultimately players just standing completely still. And now that one-way smoke in play is only going to make it more difficult. Time ticking away, and he didn't even...
So yeah, not ideal, but again, nice by BBL to take advantage of what Fnatic were giving them. And speaking of that, let's take a look at round number 15. So this is the anti-bonus for Fnatic here that, again, starts off very well. Unfortunately well, right? Look at that. Again, that's how they found the first kill, right? So you're like, oh, you know, good for you, I guess. You know, the gods are still smiling with Fnatic. Here we go. Now Kreven on B is going to try and make, you know, a bit of a hyper aggro play, you might say. Walks right into Boaster, right? So now 5v3. I mean, look at the map here, right? They don't know where to go here, BBL. You know, normally this is just a complete case of the round is completely over. And yet Fnatic are going to lose this round.
A hefty lead. And LaRock is looking to try and get the punish. Patient from Lover's Rock catches one, but LaRock has taken a lot of damage in return. Even still, damage here would be nice. They can buy into the next round, but it's not over until it's over. A swing coming out, timing perfect! And even though LaRock was on just 11 HP, he's come out with 2. Crashies and Boaster.
Who's next?
But now they're even going to be potentially revealed on the hunt to try and find where they are. And the fact is, while all of this happens, the time is still ticking. That's allowed Lover's Rock to reposition completely. I almost wonder if they have to think about saving the weapons, the time.
So what should have been like a very routine 5v3 B retake, right? Which is about as routine as it gets for Fnatic in these scenarios. Somehow they end up with 2 people not even finding a fight, right? Not even really trying. You know, which, again, like, is not a great sign for Fnatic. Now, as this plays out and we watch them lose, I do just want to talk about Fnatic in general and what I'm thinking. And, look, Boaster said, you know, and this was true last year as well, that they tend to start off slow, right? They didn't have a good kickoff last year either, so I wouldn't be panicking if I was a Fnatic fan just yet. If they lose another game, then maybe, you know, we can start to panic a little bit. But you know, Kayak and Alfia aren't going to have games this bad like they did, you know, against BBL. We know that that is probably the case because they showed it all of last year, right? So that's probably not going to happen. But do Fnatic have, you know, quite a few things to fix? Yeah,